I just got the notice that it's being live streamed. So I got it on my screen.
Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome Cupcake Krista. Hey, and look at who we've got. We've got a special guest, Wendy Weaver tonight from Pennsylvania. Krista,
Hi.
how are you today?
Yes.
How are you today?
I'm good. Sorry, I heard an echo. I'm so sorry.
Oh, sorry. We have Wendy here today, and I'm good. Wendy is in Pennsylvania, and she was going to be going to her airport earlier, and she got chased home due to a storm. So she was going to try to be kiting when we started the show. But Wendy, welcome, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Jade. I appreciate the invite. Glad to be here.
All right. So where were you going to be going? Which airport did you plan on going to?
Jersey Shore Airport. Believe it or not, there is a Jersey Shore, Pennsylvania in the middle of the state. So it has nothing to do with the ocean.
Oh, cool. All right. So where are you from originally?
I was raised in Wasilla, Alaska. Most people know Wasilla as Sarah Palin country. Her dad was my elementary school teacher, and
really?
Was raised there from third grade until I was 24. Then I met my husband in Alaska, and he's from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. So we moved back after we had our daughter, and we live in Williamsport since 1997.
Oh, okay. How old is your daughter?
25.
25. So does she have any interest in this sport?
I put a miniature kite in her hand, one of those little ones that are bigger wing kite, but smaller than what our wings are. So it's kind of like the $100 range wing. And she did really well with it and had a blast. So I think she kind of has a little bit of an interest, but she hasn't said that she would ever do it.
Okay. All right. So what got you into the sport?
I am the vice president of the Balloon Fest Air Show and so much more out here in Lycoming County. And 2 years ago, our president discovered Eric Farewell and the team Paradigm on YouTube, and just reached out to see if they would come to our event. They did. They needed a place to stay, so a lot of them stayed at our house, and we got to know them and Eric Farewell's family and everything very well. So I fell in love with the sport as soon as I saw it. It was fascinating to just watch them. And then they came back a second year, and last August was my first tandem in the trike. loved it even more. I thought I'd be scared to death, and I wasn't. And then I just said, I got to do this. So I'm almost 50, and I thought, what better time to do something new when you're almost 50? And it's keeping me in shape.
Yep. So when do you turn 50?
In 2 years.
2 years. Okay.
And this month I'll be 48 this month.
I've got 2 weeks.
Me too, actually, the 23rd.
Oh, 21st here.
Oh, okay. Well, happy birthday.
Yeah. All right. So, you said you do trike?
Yes. I was interested in the trike right off the bat. I didn't know if I've had back surgery. My L4 and L5 has been repaired. So I was very nervous about foot launching and having to come down on my feet. So to this day, I have never had a successful landing on my feet with the foot launch, but I have foot launched my motor and I have my trike now. So I prefer the trike. But I do want to still stay active with both so that I can eventually not be a turtle, because I called myself a turtle.
All right. All right. So what kind of trike do you have?
I have the Fly products. So I have the Moster 185 motor with the 140 prop double hoop. And I absolutely love it.
Okay. What kind of wing do you have?
I have the Mojo 28 meter.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What colors do you have?
It is like a fuchsia purple pink with a black curve, and then teal color blue.
Okay. Now, when was your first flight?
I have a plaque inside the house too. March, I want to say it was March 2nd, I think. But it was February 27th. I started training down at Lake Wales, Florida at Aviator.
Oh, okay.
And special shout out to them. Best instructors I could ever even imagine. Very patient and great, very thorough. And I started on the 27th, and then March 12th was the end of the graduating class.
So how
I keep my coin right here every day.
Yeah.
I have my pilot coin with me at all times.
So who were your instructors down there?
AJ Goen was my foot launch instructor, and Judson Graham actually did a lot of the class work too with AJ. He even had to redo a wings lines, and so he asked if anybody wanted to stay during lunch and taught us how to redo all the lines of a wing, which was awesome.
Oh,
and then Mike Brown, he's his specialty is trike, so he helped me with the trike. And by the time I left in 14 days, there was 3 days we couldn't fly at all because of weather. So everybody got back in their heads a little bit because that's such a long span of time. But I was able to leave with 19 flights. 3 of them were foot launch and 16 of them were by trike. So I just knew my thing was trike.
Okay. You said 19 days or 14 days of training?
14 days.
14 days. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't do it any other way either. Some of these trainings that say they're 4 days or something, you got to have I liked that there was too many different opportunities of kiting with this style wind and then low wind launches. And then, so you had more opportunity to try different things in front of the instructors.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Looking to see if there's any questions in the chat. Guys, got any questions at all?
I have one.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't raise my hand. So you flew in Florida, Lake Wales, not far from where we are. Do you prefer the weather here? That you get a mixture of what's going on as opposed to up in Pennsylvania?
So Pennsylvania, where I fly out of, is Jersey Shore Airport. It's right next to a range of mountains, hills, but they're a good 2,000 feet. So if you have the winds coming from the south, you're going to get that wash from the mountains. So you got to have specific winds west, east, or north to south to be, have your wits to you. But I really liked Florida for the fact that I don't think I'll ever get out of my mind all the beautiful sunrises and sunsets with the fog, but it was a little cooler in the mornings, but not cool enough that you had to wear like heavy coats or anything. So I really enjoyed that. And of course I got to fly over an eagle's nest that the eagle came out and chased away a coyote. So I'll never get rid of that in my head. It was amazing.
Cool.
Jersey Shore, there's deer, but that's all I've seen so far. There's nothing real interesting like what there was at Lake Wales.
All right.
So Mark McElroy's got a question in here. How many flights are you at right now?
So as of the night before last, 29 flights. And the last 2 flights, the 28th, 29th, was the sketchiest ones I've ever had. Not for my flying, but for the winds, because it was humid. It seemed like it was perfect to take off from the ground because it was like enough of a constant wind that was like 7-8 miles an hour. So it was enough to get your wing up and happy and take off. And, but as soon as you left the ground, it was active piloting the entire time. So I went up 1,400 feet, which is the highest I've ever been. So, but that was because I was trying to find something that was better to fly in than what I was flying in. All I can describe it as is being a regular jet airplane or a small Cessna and going through pockets of air and dropping probably what was 10 or 15 feet, maybe more at a time. And I was really worried about my wing staying above me, but it worked out fine. And I did great with both my landings. So I learned a lot.
So I got a question then. If you knew you flew at 1,400 feet, you obviously must have some type of app. What app are you using?
Well, for forecasting, UAV forecast, Fly, I have it right here. The other app that I use most of the time, well, for tracking all my flights, is Fly Sky High. So that one's been working well. I know that there is a lot of inconsistencies with weather forecasts of any of the apps because, I mean, it's weather. Mother Nature is the only one that really knows that. Right. But I really do like the UAV forecasting I put my winds to be red after 10 miles an hour because I just don't feel comfortable after 10 miles an hour yet. So.
Me neither.
Helpful. I need to be better about kiting, reverse kiting. I still haven't successfully done that too much. And I really want to get better about that.
Yeah. Krista, you have a question.
Well, actually, it's a question in the chat. Someone wants to know your YouTube channel.
Oh,
Bill H.
So I did just start a YouTube channel. Well, I have Weaver Wireless Consultants. That's what my shirt is that's on here. So I own a business and I do have a YouTube channel for that, which is Weaver Wireless. And then I just this weekend set up a YouTube channel that instead of Dora the Explorer, it's Wendy the Explorer, all smushed together. And all my vacations and stuff that we go on, as well as all of my flights, I'm going to put them all on there so that I not only have a Bible of them to keep, but then I can share it and, share it with other people.
All right. So I'm going to go back one or a few and go back to Aviator in Florida. Was it hot there?
When I went in March, it really wasn't. I mean, there was a couple days where it got, it was mid to higher 70s, but it was perfect for March. I was just glad that I left Williamsport because, I mean, we had 26-inch days of storms and snow this year, over and over. So I was glad to get out of the snow.
Yeah, I would too. Okay, Mark McElroy has got another question. Are you planning on going to any fly-ins or have you been to any?
Well, I am very fascinated by fly-ins. I've heard that you get to watch a lot of interesting things, and I've already seen lots of interesting stories that have come after the fly-ins and accidents and not such good stuff. But I am very interested in fly-ins. I'm really busy with my schedule, so I've been watching all the most recent ones that are coming up, and we're going to try and get to some of them, but I don't plan on ever flying at any of them for a little while. I want to just go and meet people and see what equipment they have, because I want to light my entire trike up and outline it with lights, as well as like see how cameras are set with people, and just kind of get to know people a little bit and watch, because I just love watching it just as much as doing it. So,
well, trust me, you'd have a lot of fun. My first fly-in was at Bad Apples, and I was like, I'm not flying. And then we went a little bit early, so we got a lot of good flying in with our group. And by the time the rest of the pilots and families showed up, it was crazy busy. But I sat out there. Krista used my iPad and she was videoing, and I would just sit there and kind of watch the runway and the LZ, and oh, there's a spot. I bet I could get out there in time and take off and hopefully not have a failed launch and mess everybody else up. And I did. I actually did go up a couple of times. I was a little nervous about running out there like a frogger, but did okay. So
does everybody try and be as respectful as possible with even being on radios or trying to same channel?
They have what do they call them? What's the word? People that are directing you. So
Oh,
Oh,
no, I don't know what he has.
Ground men. I have a great ground man. It's my husband.
yeah. So they have these guys that are out there and they're watching the skies, and they'll direct you, and tell you, hey, it's your turn, you can go, and you just coming in, your priority coming in, and just watch out for everybody around you. And it was amazing. I mean, to be able to fly with that many people and actually just sitting around with our friends and watching everybody else fly too was spectacular. So,
oh, I'm sure. Is that where your video came from in your background? Was that many people up in the air?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty.
Yeah, and it's just, some people putting on shows and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. And people selling stuff, and just hanging out was the best part, becoming one big happy family, and getting to meet a lot more people and meeting more people that, that we talk to on here, and that see us on here with the other shows that Shane and I and Eric are on. It's pretty amazing, all the people that are out there that do this sport. So
yeah, my husband rides motorcycle trials bikes, which don't have seats, and they're from Europe as well. And I've always followed him, going to all of his events, and it's the same type of family. Like, as soon as you are in that motorcycle group of people, everybody just welcomes you and your family at an event, and you just know everybody forever after that. And stay in contact. And he's like, it's the same thing. So he told me, I will support you. I will do this. And it's your turn. I'll follow you. We'll go to fly-ins. We'll pack up on weekends and we'll go wherever we need to. And he's been so supportive.
So does he fly?
He does not. He doesn't want to fly, but he loves being the ground man and being in everybody's ears. And we have Life Flight that flies in and out of Jersey Shore every so often. And so he has the aviation radio, and then he will call us and tell us that there's somebody coming, or look out where we're at and stuff. Because we do have local pilots at that airport that are very active, that fly Cessnas or smaller aircraft. And they are very much into paramotors being there, and they have a lot of fun with them. So, we work well together and know where each other are at all times. But,
so you said, you're everything for the hot air balloon. So is that a certain show that you have a certain time of year there, or?
Yes. So this year it's September 11th and 12th, and it's at the Lycoming County Fairgrounds. And we have Jason Flood that does an air show act. We have skydiving act that comes in. We have Team Paradigm that does an evening light up show that they do. And last year it was close to September 11th. So they did the Lost Man formation and shut off one light and disappeared. And that was really neat. And it is this year. We have Lycoming County's got a huge 9/11 ride. It sounds like 20,000 riders are going to be here. So it's going to be the same day as the main day of the Balloon Fest. So it's going to be a lot of activity in our county and just our local 20-mile radius. But it's, people walking around in the fairground area that are, juggling and riding little mini bikes. And of course, all the paramotorists, when they can't fly, they're one-wheeling it all over. So I think we're going to try and put together a one-wheel contest where they were putting like the beach chair size chairs on the one wheel, and then they would lean and they would do little races.
Well, we've got one guy in our group, Brian Waller, Bale Waller, that's really good at doing that, and it's still running with his dog while he's sitting on a chair on his one wheel.
Oh,
so
that's great.
He's pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Brian, so remember that fly-in or hot air balloon show?
Yes. We welcome everybody and anybody who wants to come. Last year, we were the only event on the whole East Coast that still went through on COVID. Like, there was balloonists that didn't buy insurance because that would have been the only event that they would have paid for insurance for. And so we had 8 balloons, I believe, last year, and we've already got 13 balloons this year guaranteed. So,
wow. So what insurance are you talking about?
As a balloonist, they have insurance that they have to have for their balloon activity if they're going to bring passengers and everything. And they would have had to have that, but it would have been only one event that they would have paid for it. So it wasn't worth them paying the money out to get the insurance for the year, just for the 2 days of rides.
Right.
So.
All right. Any other questions, guys? Krista. Oh, she's got her hand up. Sorry. Lift your beer up.
Beer.
Oh.
Have you flown or kited, or what's the question? The hot air balloons. Have you done your PPG around the hot air balloons?
I have not, but I did ask out of respect. I asked our president on the committee, the last meeting last month, and I said, since I have my paramotor and I have my trike, I really want to fly with everybody on a Friday night or Saturday morning or Saturday night, because it's not the paid performance time on Saturday that, I would do anything with that. But she said, oh yeah, she's like, it's fine. So I'm really looking forward to it, because we have the chance Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night, and Sunday morning. So yes, I plan on being in the air. I'll keep my distance, but I will have my GoPro on. And the last time that I flew a couple nights ago, I was live on Facebook for the first time. I tested it out to see how it would go. And I actually wore my phone on a lanyard tied to my vest, and I put it right in my radio holster, aiming my phone out this way, and it did live feed the whole entire time until my husband called me on my Bluetooth and it interrupted it. But testing out all those little things right now to see how the cameras can work and if it hears me talk or not because of motor. So I'll be ready for those balloons.
That's one thing I'm trying to figure out on getting Shane, Cupcake Krista's husband. He's got like a chest mount, and then he puts his phone in there and lanyard, and then he can put his phone, I think, either way. But
yeah, turns that way.
On a trike, you're going to see our feet the entire time. So when they're doing the butt fan foot launch, they're getting a good view of, what's in front of them. So I'm trying to figure out something else, because right now I'm just wrapping the lanyard around my neck, and when I got to turn, I got to put the phone down, and then it stops for a moment, and then I bring it up and kind of pan around at my view and stuff like that. So.
And I was told and warned, because I was going to wear my lanyard just around my neck. And I was told, don't ever put it around your neck, because if anything ever bounced and did anything, if that happened to fly up or happened to have something, it might, you never know. So maybe I put it through the loop on my straps. There's like the plastic loop. I just feed it through and then put it through itself so that it's kind of hanging right off of that. And then I just have it so that I can still pick it up, or I could take it and put it in my pouch. But that way it's on my strap.
So do you have trike harness, like on your harness, or do you have just a radio harness that you're talking about? What's
Well,
the
I
strap?
have a radio harness on with the,
Oh,
if it's
okay.
just me and not my husband, then I have my aviation radio here and my regular radio here.
Yeah.
But if he's got that radio, then I have a center part of my harness that I can put my phone right in that sticks my phone up about that much, which is
Sure.
just
Perfect.
my video side. So it worked out perfect. But
Yeah.
I still strap it to my harness loop. You can even just put it around your harness, strap it with inside your harness and then pull it back through and just leave it hang or put it in front. But that worked out really well on Facebook Live. So I'll be doing more of that.
Yeah, that's what I've been kind of playing with, is the Facebook Live. And then some days I've got my audio is all screwed up and it's just like ticking. And so
that something happens with the radios, and when you're Bluetooth to your helmet, the radios interfere with the Bluetooth and helmet. So I've noticed that too. It was happening to my husband's radio, but not mine the other night. But I've had it happen in the past. So there's some kind of conflict of the transmission.
yeah. Okay, so there's Cat Girl, our guest for next week. She's in the chat and she's asking a question. And I noticed you've got longer hair. So what do you do with your hair? And if you're wearing a helmet, what do you do?
Well, I cut 4 inches off too, which is as long as my hair's ever been. But I always pull it over to the side now. I put a ponytail here and then I braid it and do that. So, and that doesn't, because I put my helmet on, it holds this straight down to where it won't even flat back. So that's
what the braid helps from getting it all snarly afterwards.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. And I mean, I'm much further away from my motor with the trike because I'm sitting down more. Yeah. So I noticed that even if I was to hold my hair back, I wasn't even going to be close, but I still just keep it braided.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Go, Krista.
Okay. It's one from Mark McElroy. He wants to know what kind of helmet you have or use.
I have the Aviator helmet that I bought at training. So it's the whole setup that had the comms built in. It has the like microfiber look to it. It had the Bluetooth piece already in it. So you could Bluetooth to your phone or you could Bluetooth helmet to helmet. I know that the setup is pretty expensive, but to me it was a lot of people were saying, well, you can get your own helmet or you can drill holes in your helmet that you get for kiting. It's just like a bicycle helmet. You could make your own. But I was looking at it as a safety thing. And I went, you know what? It's just part of the equipment and I want to be safe. So I just wanted the Bluetooth built in and didn't want to. That's another thing. I wasn't trained. Like I'm not good at finding out all the resources of the pieces to put together. And I didn't want to drill through a brand new helmet and do something wrong and compromise it. So I just bought the one that Aviator provides and sells. And I love it.
Good.
Good point.
Question in the chat from Cat Girl. Is there anywhere in particular in the near future that you would like to fly?
Well, I have 11 states I haven't been to, and Maine is one of them. And for my birthday, David Nickerson, who is an instructor with Aviator, lives up there. And he invited Matt and Janice Greenewalt and myself and my husband to go fly. So I'm going there to fly for my birthday weekend.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how is that, a road trip then, I take it?
Yep. We're going to pack up on Friday and go up Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
How long of a drive is that for you?
I think it's 12 hours away where that's at, that we're going in Maine.
Nice. Yeah. Got a place to stay then, or camping, or?
I'm going to find that out. We'll figure it out. I'm fine. I can camp anywhere. And if the paramotor has to, or the trike has to sit outside, will I camp inside the trailer or whatever, or sit in the back seat and lay across the seat? I'm good with that too. Whatever. It's all part of the fun.
Eric's saying something about Alaskans here.
Who do you fly with?
Question? Oh, sorry.
Who do I fly with?
Who's your?
Okay, so Jersey Shore Airport, Josh Rowland, he hurt himself again this year. He hurt his ACL last year and was trying to get it better this year, and then he hurt it again at the beginning of the season. So Josh Rowland flies out of there. Jamie Freese and oh my goodness, her boyfriend. I have his picture on my iPad because he flew out the White Sands. Robert Condola. Also, my best friend, Janice Greenewalt, she went to aviator training in May. And her husband, Matt, he is just a daredevil. So he did not go to training and he's self-taught and he's just as many flights as I am right now. And we have a little man that I just absolutely love. He taught himself how to do a PPC. So he's got the bigger trike, with the, it's like a parachute kite or wing. And he taught himself. And when I first started at Jersey Shore with flying, he ended up just getting like 50 feet off the ground, 20, 30 feet off the ground. And he was like, I just haven't gone up too high yet. Well, then I was there the night that he got up and we were like, you got up like 500 feet. And he's this little old man and he just grins ear to ear and he taught himself. And I just love watching him just go up and yeah, we got a lot of great people flying out of Jersey Shore.
Does he do foot launch then?
No, he has the bigger trikes, like the ones that you do have to pretty much.
The parachute. Yeah.
Yeah, the parachute trikes. Yeah.
Eric and I just went to a fly-in that was mostly parachutes. And I was kind of intimidated by them because that was one thing my instructor said is stay away from them in the air. And there was more of them than us. There was only I think 5 PPGs. And that's the one where I posted that I won the beanbag drop.
Oh,
so
would we stay away from them because their motors are so
yeah,
the thrust of the motor and the wing being so big?
So when we would circle around after we'd drop a bag, we'd come down and they had like a bullseye, and then we'd drop a bag and then we'd take off to the right turn pattern, and then we'd come out over this big lake, and then so I separated myself quite a ways from the parachutes that were in front of me and stuff. So I didn't have any of their extra wind bouncing me around at all. So yeah, that was fun. And it was nice getting to know those people. And I just wish we would have stayed longer because, and it was just so hot up here. But I had asked one of the guys, I said, next year, if we come, I would love to have a ride on one of the parachutes just to see what that was like. And they're like, just all you got to do is ask. So
I find the controls really interesting. They're usually like pulling on something and it's like feet and a bar.
But they said most of the time once they're up in the air, he said their hands are free. One guy said, yep, I'm texting, I'm talking to my kids or my wife, and just lever and the steer with their feet. The lines are connected with the foot steering. So that was pretty interesting. So
I'm still like, I don't want to park the brakes.
I get that way too.
Yeah.
When it's bumpy.
I have a question for everybody that's out here, and maybe somebody will answer it in the chat, or maybe you guys can also help answer it. My Mojo wing, my brakes, the little slide, it slides all the way up. So when I put it to the magnet, if I'm flying and I put it to the magnet, it goes and shoots straight to the top, and it's like out of my reach. And so, well, not completely, but very barely I can reach up and grab it if I really try. But has anybody else experienced that with a Mojo wing? Why that? And it's a little Velcro strap. So I tried to see if I could get it to stop. And I see that there's little ribbons that kind of go up on that strap that I could maybe put a baby zip strip in one of those to keep it held down to where it can't zoom up.
Yeah. Well, hang on. Let's see if anybody's going to respond to that.
Does anybody, Mojo, do you have a Mojo?
No, we got a Mac Para, and it's got 2 sets of magnets on it. So it's one on top of the other, a little bit higher, and
Okay.
mine haven't had any problems at all.
Yeah. You're probably seeing the lightning in my background.
I see darkness.
Yeah, it's definitely lightning.
Bill H says he's not familiar with that wing.
Okay. And I mean, that's just something, if you ever even during your show or anything, if you ever wanted to ask somebody else that had a Mojo, that would be interesting to find out. Because I didn't even know that they had D-links. So when my Mojo came, I couldn't do my trims at all. And I was like, why are they not working? Well, then I found out they have D-links that hold two hoops together, and you have to take the D-links out so that it releases them. And I mean, of course it's in the middle setting, so it's the safest setting. So I flew on it, I don't know, 2.5 months like that. And then I didn't realize that I had to take that out.
All right. Brian Waller in the chat said, those Mojo mags are meant to slide up. He's got the same issue. It's okay. Just make sure you stow it. And then Susan Ray, the Mojo Power and Power 2 slide range is pretty long.
Yeah.
Brian Waller says magnet to magnet click.
Yeah. Yeah, I just lengthened my brakes 6 inches because they were what they are now. And then when I was doing trike in Florida, then when I went to foot launch, they were way too long. They like I'd pull and they wouldn't do anything. So then I had to shorten them to 6 inches. But then when I got my trike and got that set up again, I had to just bring them back. And I thought maybe that would help the issue, but it still slides kind of. My husband put a zip strip hoop on my brake, just so that if it went away, I could at least grab that little hoop, kind of like how you have the extra brake rings on some of the wings. But I was like, I'm still not parking it because it seemed like it was going to still be way out of my reach. So I'll get there.
Have you ever pulled your have you ever done tip steering? I guess that's one.
I haven't, because I don't have the tip steer rings. Like that's what those rings are, right? And the Mojo.
Okay. And what's the other? The trimmers. Have you ever pulled your trimmers all the way in?
I have not yet.
I did it this last weekend at that beanbag drop, and I noticed my brakes were, instead of here, they were down here. And it was like a different kind of steering for me. So I was kind of freaking out going over some trees. So it was a new experience for me.
Yeah, so I didn't realize it would change the height of your brake because of the angle change. Yeah.
So that was my first time, and I was concentrating too hard on trying to drop a beanbag, then talk in my ear to Eric and push the button.
Yeah.
On the avionics.
My husband knows it's best to call me on my phone. It interrupts anything I'm doing on my phone, but it's best to call me because after 2 rings, my helmet just picks up. So then I'm like hands-free completely, and I just say, hello, now I'm glad to talking to you. Mine
too.
Yeah.
My son called me, and I was thinking, oh, it's not going to answer. It's not going to answer. And all of a sudden Eric's messaging me or radioing me saying there's an airplane coming in to the area, but he's not going to land. He's coming towards you. And all of a sudden I spotted him. And all of a sudden my son is like, hello, Mom, are you there? I'm like, I need to go. I'm flying. Krista, got any questions? I think a couple questions in the chat here. Brian Waller did say, you won't notice much difference in trim in and out on the Mojo. It's really just there to get you used to adjusting trims.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
So, and Brian Waller, you can check him out on.
Name sounds familiar. Like I might have.
Yep. And if you guys want to share any of your, what? I'm sorry.
Is it WAHLER?
WALLER.
Okay.
PPGbrian.com.
Oh yeah, you can go to ppgbrian.com.
Okay. Thank you.
What made you pick your wing?
What made me pick my wing? Well, for
Yeah.
one, I want slow and steady. I want the couch in the sky. I want the one that's going to keep inflating, even if it wants to have a little give or something. But honestly, my husband surprised me at Christmas, and I got a wing for Christmas, and he worked with Eric Farewell and had my Weaver Wireless logo put on the up inside of it. So it was a big surprise. So they picked the color, they picked the logo, and I was very surprised at Christmas. So yeah. And I love my wing. I trust my wing. I feel really good flying it. So it might be a long time before I would change, or the wing, once the 5-year period or whatever, it's not as crispy and when you have to replace it, but I feel good in it.
So what kind of business
got
do you
one.
have? You said a wireless business?
Yeah, so I have Weaver Wireless Consultants. We train people on how to use their technology. So we've done almost 200 senior trainings one-on-one in the last almost 5 months. So all the senior centers and everything, they got grants through COVID, and they were able to get iPads for each senior to keep the iPad. And then we came in and did a 2-hour training to how to use it. So people were able to be on Zooms like this, or on, go and watch YouTube videos, or go and play bingo, or play Pandora music while they're playing their card games. And I mean, they have just loved it. It's really rewarding to see them light up and realize I can FaceTime my grandkids, or, I can actually use this now. And we do fluorescent index step-by-step cards that they keep. So we do mass setups for businesses. Like tomorrow, we're doing 40 iPads and doing a mass setup and getting Apple IDs on all 40 and putting on a spreadsheet for the business. And we do individual going to people's homes and setting up their smart TVs, their wireless printers, and showing them how to print from their phone or throw their videos up on their TV, on their smart TV, and, all of that. So, yeah.
Question. Do you watch any YouTubers?
Yes, but I didn't even know who Tucker Gott was until 2 years after I knew about the sport. So I was not one of the, I found Tucker Gott first. So now I'm at Aviator school, because I think that was probably 5 out of the 6 people in my class, or 4 out of the 6 people in my class, that everybody was
you can say Aviator actually found you.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, we found them because of the Balloon Fest. So,
right.
But so I do watch Tucker's interesting videos of being able to see, I had never seen somebody foot launch a passenger before and go tandem. And I watched him with his dad and his mom. And it was interesting. I really like watching just all the different things of paying attention and looking how he's putting his cameras on his equipment and all that stuff. And, it's neat being able to say you went to Dunkin' Donuts and got a donut and then turned around and left, gives you a place to go when you're wanting to fly somewhere. So he's really interesting to sit and watch, and also watching the YouTube channels about the flying across the US, that race.
Yeah,
I've been watching a lot of that footage. That's really interesting for me, but interesting to just sit and see how they maneuver from airport to airport, No, I don't really have any other specific YouTube that I follow and watch all the time. So,
okay. So do you have any cross-country flights in the near future planned for yourself?
So where we live, I can fly from my house. Eric and the team did it from our ground, but they're much more, our ground starts here and goes down like this. So he started and he could run to where it pretty much disappeared and he was in the sky. And, he came around and touched his foot on our roof of our house, and, they had a lot of fun and it was neat watching it. Now, of course, on a trike, I can't do this to take off, but our neighbor has 20 acres and it's all flat, and he's mowing for me this whole entire summer, the whole flat spot up above our house. So I can literally go to his house, which is right maybe 150 feet from the corner of our property, and I can fly right from there. So if I get to the point where I know it's safe enough with the winds, we'll take off there and go to a local ballpark that like a soccer field area. That's where we used to kite when I first came back from class, because it's just kind of up over the mountain ridge and you kind of just come right back down, and it'd be a good shorter distance to try for the first time. But yeah, I'm still very much about keeping my LZ in my in my view, because
Right.
I haven't done a cross country. Now I'm hoping in August, the whole month of August, the Team Paradigm and the Aviator team instructors will be here, because they have two-week training classes in Jersey Shore Airport. So I'm going to try and go up every night and every evening as much as possible to get more time with them while they're here.
All right. So Brian Waller's got a question in the chat. Do you plan to fly with Tucker and Judson? Because they're not too far away from you, I guess.
Well, Judson gave me my first tandem flight, so I kind of have a bond with him, and I would love to. I would absolutely love that. Tucker has the exact same setup, trike, and when I saw that he had picked that as his trike setup, I was like, oh yes, that made me feel good that I picked all the right equipment, and and he loves his trike just as much. So I would love to do that.
And Brian also said that Leanne Trout is up in the area by you also, and she flies.
Oh, I know that name, but I'll have to look her up.
I think she might be in our secret Facebook girls group too, I think.
Oh,
So
okay.
check her out. I know her husband and her come on our other shows at times also.
Does she live in Tunkhannock by any chance? It seems like Tunkhannock area maybe comes up. I'm not sure. I'll look for her.
Brian, if you can answer what city they're in. Brian also asked, when are the Aviator classes in Pennsylvania?
So August 7th is the first 2-week class. And then they have a couple days off after that 2 weeks. So August 7th to the 21st. And then they start another one. Actually, they have a week off. And then August 28th through, or it might even start like August 26th or 27th and go till the 10th, 9th or 10th, because then we have the Balloon Fest, September 11th and 12th, and then they'll be heading back to Florida.
So the 11th and 12th is your Balloon Fest?
Yes.
And all the shows? Okay. All right. So Brian, make sure when you're heading north, because Brian Waller's also, he lives in
Alabama.
Alabama, yeah.
Alabama.
Okay.
Alabama, and he's going to be driving north, I believe, from Moonshiners.
Okay.
I think. And he's going to be heading towards Maine and working his way up and flying with other people too. So maybe you can meet up with him at
Maine when we're in Maine, because I know the Aviators are leaving Florida and going to Maine the 23rd, 24th, 25th weekend, because they're going to be up there before they come here to start the classes. So I'm sure he'll be in that mixture of time between the right states.
Okay. Yeah. Because Brian did his training at Aviator also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Jim CR120 has got a question for you. So now that both you and Janice are PPG pilots with your own gear, have you flown together yet? Tell us about it. So
yes, our first time, I'll probably get teary-eyed over this. Our first time in the air, it was awesome to be able to, and I foot launched, so I was foot launching at that time. But when she came back I believe it was May 12th that she was back in town. So it was like, I believe May 13th, we got to get up in the sky together, and we flew beside each other. But but, of course, didn't get too close to touch wings or anything like that. I don't want to do that, but it was neat to be able to see each other. And then she got a good view of her being above me and saw me flying underneath her. So she got a good picture of that. That was pretty neat. And I always try and like find her, whenever we both get up in the air now, to try and find where she's at and do, follow her around. But it is the most awesome feeling because she did not know about this until I asked her to go to class with me just to drive to Florida, because I didn't want to fall asleep at the wheel and I wanted to have company with me. And I thought, you know what, it'd be great to have a trip with my best friend. And she said, okay. And her husband was fine with it. And we had a great time, and she fell in love with it once she got a trike ride and saw just what it was all about. And so then she decided to go through the training too, and loves to fly.
Nice. So he also wants to know, are you going to be posting any videos? And is it going to be on Wendy the Explorer?
Yes, I'm going to definitely get those loaded. Hopefully by the end of this weekend, I can get some of those uploaded since I just created the page last weekend. I do have a lot of footage on my Wendy Weaver Facebook page. So if you just go to Facebook and, you can friend request me and I'll accept to just be able to go out and see my live footage that I just did. But I usually am pretty good about posting everything on there because my family in Alaska likes to see what's going on, and they get on Facebook all the time. So I keep it easy.
So I've got a couple pictures that I might have grabbed off of Facebook also. So can I show some of them?
Sure.
Or do you want to show any pictures? Let's do a screen share at all.
I'll see what you have first.
All right, let me see what I can come up with here. Okay, well, we got this one.
Yeah.
And who's this gal?
That's Janice. So
Okay.
she's my best friend. That's Janice Greenwald. And that's me in my trike when we were hanging for the hang in my garage.
Okay.
Yep, me flying low because I did some maneuvers to try and.
Pretty pink wing.
Yeah.
That's cool. And let's see. Is that your husband in the background there?
I'm trying to see. It's a little small, but oh no, that's Robert. That's Janice's husband.
Okay. What's that?
It's Matt. I called him Robert, but he's Matt. And that's my broken prop. Yeah. So there's a story behind that. My husband actually drilled that into the wall just to kind of let me know that was my first flight by myself back in Pennsylvania. There was plans of 4 or 5 paramotor pilots were supposed to be at Jersey Shore Airport that night. And I was like, let's go fly. And I think it was not even 5 days after I got home from Florida. So we went to the Jersey Shore Airport. No other pilots showed up. And I was like, okay, well, I got all the gear out. And my husband's like, well, we got here to do this. Let's do this. And I'm like, okay, I didn't really want to be by myself for my first flight in Pennsylvania. I'd rather have somebody else here that's a pilot. But I decided to do it. My husband also got very excited to put all my stuff together for me when it arrived. And so he put my whole paramotor together without me being home because I was working. And I caught 2 things the night before that were wrong with things he put together. And so I fixed those. And I did not pay attention to the netting being on the inside of my cage instead of the outside of my cage. And so when I went up in the air, I was about 300 feet in the air, and my clip broke at the bottom, which is pretty well known, I guess, on the Moster 185 cage. The clips can break pretty easily because they're just kind of like, they're the plastic ones that fit together like a life vest. And a lot of times those break. So that broke, and then it loosened the net. the net was inside and it went around the prop. It blew my prop apart. It shook me really bad. And it broke my cage. So my cage was hanging in pieces. I didn't know my cage was hanging in pieces. For a brief second, I went, oh my God, what just happened? And I was talking to my husband in ears and he goes, you're okay. And then I realized my wing was okay because I looked above just because I pictured that being sucked into my motor, you know. And once I saw that was okay, I went, I'm just kiting. And so then I just talked myself down like the aviators in my head, like the instructors, and everybody went silent except me just talking on the video of me going and saying, you know, hold it, hold it, hold it, pressure, pressure all the way down. And I was fine. Still didn't land on my feet, but I'll be honest, when immediately freaked out, then I was fine. I got myself, now I could see how I would act under pressure, that I would hold myself together and do what I needed to do as a pilot. But there was a brief second that I went, oh, you know what? I'm just kiting at this moment and I might actually land on my feet. So I got excited again to try and land on my feet. So my mind kind of did a whole bunch of things in a short amount of time, but it all worked out. And I think it was good that it happened right off the bat if it was ever going to happen, because I saw how I would react. And I had to depend on myself. I had to depend on me and my training, and it was fresh out of training. So I had it all right there. And that made me a much more confident pilot each time I went out after that, because I knew I'll be okay. You know,
Right.
if motor goes out or something does make something happen to my motor, I know I'm still kiting at that point.
Yeah. All right. Jim, CR120 has got another question. What's the ideal flight for you? What kind of flying do you enjoy the most, and how often do you go?
So I look at the app all the time to see, can I go tomorrow morning? Can I go tomorrow night? I look at my calendar for owning a business and seeing where it fits in. So I'm constantly always looking at morning or night. My perfect ideal flight, I would say, would be winds that are 5 to 7 mile an hour. I don't like no wind launches at all. Now that I'm trike though, it's not as bad because you just more power and it's a lot easier than being foot launch and running. So I would say 5 to 7 mile an hour winds, and then just any beautiful sunrise or sunset. That to me, I just park myself up there, aimed at that sunset, and just talk to God and pray, or talk to people that have passed in my life and just say how appreciative of it I am of just being able to do this. Because there was a time that I would never have been able to do this because I lost a lot of weight. And there was a time that I would never have had the confidence to even try it or learn it. And I would have just said, no, that's not for me. And I would have been just somebody to watch it and enjoy it. But I faced a lot of fears through COVID. And during COVID, I went, nobody's going to tell me what to do or not to do and live. And I was determined that I needed to face some fears. So that's what I did the last 2 years. And I rappelled off of a building and raised money for the local YMCA. And it was a 150-foot building in our community that Janice and I, Janice and I and my employee, we all rappelled down the building. And so I did that because heights, my fear of heights was number one. And I'm finding out that all pilots, 80% of them probably had that fear of heights, but they're pilots and they've overcome that fear. And, you know, a lot of pilots have that fear as one of them. So, and then being able to just fly the paramotor, it really helped me believe in myself.
Yeah, truly. I'm afraid of heights too. So I'm one of that 89%. Question in there. Do you plan on flying in Alaska?
Yes, at some point. I know that on my bucket list is to drive from the tip of Florida, Florida Keys to Fairbanks. And I think I would like to try and make that kind of be part of it, because I'd have to drive my equipment. I don't trust flying my equipment in any planes, just because I don't know what they're going to do to my equipment or say that it's lost, and I would be crushed. So it would either be a planned trip from Pennsylvania right to Alaska, but yes, that's now on my bucket list, that I would love to fly my own equipment up in Alaska.
Awesome. Eric and I would love to go with you, saying I could see where he grew up then also.
Oh, neat.
So, yeah.
So is that where he said he grew up? Was
he moved around, but he was like born in San Francisco. He was when he was 3, I think he was in Montana. Where else? In 76, he said he moved to Alaska.
okay?
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Hey, we made it an hour. Do you believe it?
Has it already been an hour?
It has.
Bye.
So, no further questions at the moment. If anybody is interested, we'll do a little after show. And Krista, do you have any? What?
Yeah, I want to say something important. I want to say, Wendy, you're a major inspiration for your first flight and actually continuing to do it. I think I would lose my mind and quit. So I'd say you're an inspiration for people to not give up.
Well, thank you. And I know I have this really calming feeling when I'm up in the sky. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. And I'm usually somebody who would panic and freak out about things, but I have this overwhelming calming. I don't know. It's like it's something I'm supposed to be doing, and I enjoy it that much that each time, like even the bumpy flights the other night, I'm anxious to get back up again and try a different flight. I mean, my nerves don't get the best of me and me talking in my head to myself when I'm up there. Instead, it's just all positive thoughts. It's like, okay, it's a little bumpy. Well, this is part of flying, and then I just talk myself into just, I'm going to mosey over here instead. And so I enjoy it.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
All right. Well, if anybody would like to join in, Eric posted the meeting ID and passcode after we end this. Krista, if you have any locations that people can find you or reach out to you, please let us know.
Well, I just want to bring it to your attention. You have 25 people watching and 2 more thumbs up than Shane had yesterday.
Woohoo!
Last night.
Girl power.
So he says but
Nah, Shane. All right. And Wendy, we can reach you at again, your new YouTube.
Oh yeah. Wendy the Explorer or Weaver Wireless. There's 2 YouTube channels. Or on Facebook, I'm just Wendy Weaver, but you'll be able to see just from the cover photo that it's me. And then Weaver Wireless is on Facebook too. So any of those.
And she does post really cool stuff on her vacations and everything also. So I'm so happy that we were able to connect and get you on the show and hear your story. So if you're willing to stick around and see if any of the guys want to come on and chat with you also, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for having me. This is a great chance. I'm excited for you.
Great. All right, just give me a moment, okay?
Okay.